Hello and welcome to How to Freeze Rows in Excel. My name's Jeff, I'm glad you're here. Let's just jump right in. In this short video, we're gonna look at a couple of different ways to freeze rows in Excel so that when your worksheet has many rows, as you scroll down, you can keep track of the column labels. Let's turn to Excel. Exercise 1. All right, in this exercise, we're gonna look at the freeze panes command. So here's basically how this works. We can freeze the first row, we can freeze the first column, or we can freeze the worksheet based on the current selection. So let's go ahead and see how this works. If I wanted to freeze the first row, in other words, row 1, so that as I were to scroll down, I would see the values in row 1, the way that we do that is to head to View, Freeze Panes, Freeze Top Row. And when we do that, the first row is frozen, and as we scroll down, the values in the first row are visible, okay? So let me go ahead and unfreeze that, and let's take a look at the first column. Once again, we would just head to Freeze Panes, and this time we would select Freeze First Column, and now this first column, column A, is frozen so that if we were to scroll right, the values in column A are visible. And let me go ahead and unfreeze all that stuff. And that might work sometimes, but we can also be more specific. So I go to Freeze Panes and I say Freeze Panes, and now everything above that selected row is frozen. So as I scroll down, those top rows remain visible. Okay, let me go ahead and undo that. I can also freeze everything to the left of the selected column. So I could say freeze columns A and B. So to do that, I would select column C, freeze panes, and now as I scroll to the right, the values in column B are displayed. Let me go ahead and undo that. And the other thing we can do is we can just freeze both rows and columns. So the way that we do that is we can select a cell and everything to the left and above that cell will be frozen. So let's go back to freeze panes, and now we can see as we scroll down, everything above that selected cell is frozen. And as we scroll right, everything to the left of that selected cell is frozen. And let's go ahead and undo that. Now, let's go to the next exercise. Exercise 2. Now, if you happen to be storing your data in a table, there's no extra steps needed to freeze that column header. So let's check that out. Let's say I insert table and I click OK. Now my data is stored in a table. So watch this. If the table is selected, what does that mean? It means any active cell is in the table. As I scroll down, Excel is going to automatically replace those standard column labels B, C, D, E, and F with my table's header column values. So that's just automatic. Now, please note that if the active cell is not in the table, in other words, we have a cell way over here selected, that is not going to work. A cell in the table has to be selected. In other words, the table has to be active for this to work. So then we scroll down and we've got it. But the good news is, even if I have a different cell selected and I'm down here, I can simply select the table and then Excel makes those replacements as well. Cool, all right? So those are a couple different ways to freeze rows in Excel. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day. Hey Excel user, if you ever need to create summary reports, check out my Pivot Table for Beginners video. It starts at the beginning and shows how to store the data transactions in a table and then how to summarize those transactions with a pivot table report. I hope it helps unlock the incredible power of pivot tables.
This video is a production of Excel University.